Gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Is that like an American word, gorgeous?
No, I thought like it was something more like
English,
a
isn't
British
it?
Queen actor would say.
I agree with you.
Gorgeous, darling, gorgeous.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This is Rose from St Paul's Lifestyle.
Hi, Rose.
I'm very privileged to be here with Tom Rhodes. And there's a lot of reasons that we're interviewing Tom Rhodes today. But the connection is that some time ago, we interviewed a number of people in connection with Bill Hicks. And in particular, we interviewed Bill Hicks' brother, Steve.
Steve's a beautiful man.
Yeah, and one of the it was in fact very emotional, and one of the things that emerged was your and Bill's friendship.
I had a really mild friendship with him, you know, like casual. I wasn't like a good friend. I didn't have his phone number. I knew him, and through the miracle of Facebook, I met Steve. And I saw his picture, you know, the name didn't click in my head. And the guy had this smile, and I was like, oh my God, that's Bill's smile. And I looked, it's got to be his brother. And I friended him, and then we started writing to each other. And then I went and met him last year. And I was happy to tell him the story that I'm from Orlando, Florida, a little town outside of Orlando, in fact, called Oviedo, and Orlando started doing comedy, and I started doing open mic nights, and Bill came, I think this is 85, 86, and I had heard about him before, that he was like this wild man genius who like burned his bridges and just got so fucked up. I never met that guy. Bill he was already clean or flirting with sobriety anyway, because he didn't drink anything, and there's all these young comedians, and it's in the States, it's always young comedians go out and have a meal afterwards and talk about their sets. And there was a place next to JJ Whispers, the nightclub that had the comedy club called whatever it was, Funny Farm, Copa Banana, I think they changed their name to. And there was a place there called Skeeter's in the parking lot, and it was this redneck breakfast place, and they were known for their big biscuit covered in sausage gravy. And so I remember we went, and Bill was like so cool and nice, and just sitting with this table of young comedians, and we're all eating, and they were absolutely horrendous, the fucking Skeeter's big biscuit with. But it was like, oh, they're like, you think, oh, is this maybe the thing of this town? Their culinary oddity. But I met him then, and he was an absolute sweetheart. And I moved to New York City. I think, 87, 88. Turned out to be the worst year of my life. And I wasn't ready as a comedian. I had only been doing it a few years ago. I wasn't strong enough to get sets in the city. And I really was humping it out in an apartment in Washington Heights, which there's that famous song, Taking the A Train. That fucking train takes forever to get from Washington Heights to get to Midtown Manhattan. And, I'm surviving on very little money, doing shit one-nighters in New Jersey and Long Island, and life was really fucking hard for me. And so you had to do this, and you still have to do it to a degree in certain clubs in New York and Los Angeles, where you're the new kid in town or whatever, and you got to just play the game and hang out at the bar and be seen and just kiss loads of ass and talk to people before you ever even get on stage. So I'm hanging out at Catch a Rising Star, Coolsville at the time, in comedy, and all these snooty New York comedians, like, they're like, some fucking kid from Florida. They didn't have any time for me at all. And Bill would walk in, and he was like, just then everybody's hero. And he had already had, I don't know, maybe 5 Lettermans under his belt by then. He was living in New York. He was really popping as a comedian. And he'd walk in and see me from across the bar, and he'd come straight over with his arms out. Tom, how you doing? And how's it working out for you? And what's going on? And he was really concerned, and he always remembered me. And and that meant the world to me. And especially, you could feel these New York guys' hearts drop when he'd walk in and, you know, walk right past them. So that was cool. And then I moved back to Florida and licked my wounds for a year. And I moved to San Francisco when I was 22, and that's where I started to do better as a comedian. And Bill, I think, had started doing England at the time, or was just starting to. And he played the San Francisco Punchline, which is the coolest room in San Francisco, and one of my favorite clubs on the earth, even to this day. I still play there once a year. They have the best of the best. And Bill would be playing to half houses and stuff. And it was driving him crazy. Like, you know, I just got done playing a, 15th century church sold out in England, and, in my own country, in San Francisco. I'm not selling out. But, I mean, things were going good for him, and I think it was his second record was coming out, or his first record. I remember doing the Alex Bennett show, which was the radio station, and, like, guy had been on forever, and it was like they always had all these San Francisco comedians on, and Robin Williams would come by, and just everybody did this. It was like doing a television appearance for a San Francisco comedian, to be on that Alex Bennett show, and then you kiss his ass, and you got into the little regular rotation, and you go in there with your freshly written jokes every day. And Bill was on, and he had come out with, I guess it was his second record. I'm not sure. Well, because it was a cassette, and he had brought it. And Alex Bennett was so up his own ass, he doesn't realize he's sitting at the table with fucking Voltaire, Bill Hicks is on his show, and this guy's, taking calls from 14-year-olds or whatever the fuck is going on. So, like, nobody, and he pitched his new album, and, hey, I'm playing at the Punchline, and I pocketed that thing. I still have that for promotional use only. The Bill Hicks cassette. But and I saw him, and he never got to see me as a good comedian. He only ever saw me as like open micer guy. But the greatest thing I can say about Bill was he was like really a sweet guy, loved comedians, loved hanging out with comedians. You see a lot of comedians that want to emulate Bill's style, and because he appeared angry on stage a lot of times, people think, I need to be angry to be like Bill, and you see people going around and just being dicks to people, and that wasn't Bill's nature at all. He was like a really sweet guy if you knew him. I'm sure he was a dick to some people, but it seemed to me, the guy I knew, just loved comedy and comedians, and was a caring dude.
That really came across strongly in all the interviews that we've done and the films that we've seen. That came across strongly, but I was interested to know what you think Bill Hicks saw in you.
Nothing. Same reason I'm nice to young comedians. I don't know if he saw it. Maybe just a nice guy, You can't always pick if you were a comedian and you only picked your friends of people who you respected their comedy, you'd be very lonely. That was a joke.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking. No,
I don't know. I mean, I'm from Florida. He's from Texas. I don't know. I think he was just like a Buddha, He just a guy. Ever since he was a kid and getting into Woody Allen, and I went through the same. My dad had comedy records and fallen in love, and I love his life story, and him and his buddy, the riding the bicycle to go audition in some manager's office, and it's like Texas, it's 100. They could have like had heat strokes and died, even though they were young, healthy lads. But it's just that's remarkable. That's somebody who's in it to win it, even if nothing happens. I mean, and then it astounds me that he had those years where he lived in Los Angeles as a young comedian, and that he was trying to write for television. The guy tried to hit it at every angle, and then. Like all great artists and prophets, blossom into the person that they are because of their experiences and stuff.
Yeah, I really agree with that. But for the Bill Hicks, obviously not having met him, wish I had, but I had a great sense that he was a man very at ease with his own truth.
Well, he always knew a higher truth. It was one of those films, or is it one of the books? I forget. Where it's somebody, he was really good friends with these people, and they're really smart, intelligent people in Texas. And at one point, he's like, 25, or I forget. He's pretty young, and he's saying, I think maybe I should go back to college, And he was into, transcendental meditation and all that shit at a really young age. And he was saying, maybe I should go back to college. And they tell him hey, we're your friends, and they're not going to teach you anything. You're higher than what the fuck they're teaching. So, he was at ease with his truth, like you said.
Do you, your own...
Well, what is that? God, A Course in Miracles. I tried reading that because that was something Bill was really into.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's all about love and making yourself a better person.
Yeah.
Sartre had the same message. Sartre. Jean-Paul Sartre. I like that Sartre fella.
What about you then? Do you think of Bill Hicks a lot?
I used to. I had to get over my worship to try and become the comedian I want to be. When I was younger. I mean, I used to just listen to his stuff constantly. I had to, and then you feel it influencing your stuff. But I talked with Steve about that, and it was his brother. It was great. He said, I love seeing when, a comedian will do the thing with the finger for emphasis, and he'll smile. It's like, I think to be great at anything, you have to study the masters. If you're a dentist or you're a transmission repairman, but especially an artist or a comedian, and like Bill did. And me, study Woody Allen, study Charlie Chaplin, and study everything that's funny. And I think Bill's comedy will always be something that everyone should study. The guy was, one of the greatest masters of comedy. I put him up there with Chaplin. The guy was a stitch.
Yeah.
And his stuff still holds up. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
And through all the next Bush and the next Iraq war, it's just absolutely remarkable.
Oh, incredible. All that incredible. And I mean, I thought in the financial crisis, what a shame that he wasn't around, because surely he'd have had a field day on that.
Right. Well, everybody always says that, and that's something Steve said to everyone. Oh, it's for everything forever will be. Oh, what will Bill have said about that?
Yes.
September 11th. How would he have reacted to that?
Yeah. Can I ask you something personal that intrigued me about you? Is that okay? And Bill Hicks was such a talented musician as well, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Yeah, incredible dual talent. And you quite like Elvis, don't you?
Oh, I love Elvis. I've always had a thing for Elvis, and that's Bill. I met with Steve twice. We've talked a lot about it. It was great. I've got to talk to him about a lot of stuff, and some of my favorite stuff ever is that Charlie Hodge, the Elvis, the live albums, and who's this dick? It's so funny. But yeah, ever since I was a kid, Elvis, and especially if you're from the South, you want to buy your mom a Cadillac and all that shit, So. Would
you mind telling me, if you can, what would be your top 5 songs on your playlist?
Love Me is my favorite one.
Yeah. Have you got any other musicians that you'd have on a playlist? Oh no.
Treat Me Mean and Cruel.
That's very good.
Love Me. Blue Moon. Jesus.
Oh my God, yeah.
That early recording.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about it. And then there was a rare CD came out. It was what? Well, they made with the Elvis Gospel, and then they did an Elvis Blues, and there's this tune on there called "I Feel Like a Stranger in My Own Hometown."
Oh.
And it's fucking great. Elvis ad-libs his point, and he goes, "I'm gonna move back to Memphis and start driving a truck again." It just kills me.
you're becoming quite iconic, aren't you, in your own right?
Me? Iconic?
Yeah, I think so.
Christ.
You are prolific.
Well,
Oh, okay. I think you're prolific.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, if there was some young, do you call yourself a comic? Is that what you call yourself? Or
I always say
satirist?
comedian, but
Yeah.
it's some people. I've heard it explained both ways, that a comic is a purist and a whatever.
I don't know about that, but I wanted you to say, if you could, any advice for up-and-coming comedians. If you, anything that, in the way that Bill helped you, is there anything that you could say that would help others coming up?
Just keep getting on stage. It's the same advice for everybody. You just keep getting on stage. I was terrified. First 10 years I did stand-up, but I knew it's what I wanted to do, so I worked my way through that fear. And just that day when you're on stage and you realize, holy fuck, I'm not afraid anymore. It's like, you know, when the training wheels come off the bicycle, and once you get confidence on stage, it's a whole new ball game. And jokes are easier, everything is funnier. So just the trick, just keep getting on stage. Keep writing better jokes, write better jokes. It's the answer to everything. That's why old motherfuckers fall to the wayside. That's why comedians get forgotten, because they don't keep writing.
When
shit.
you write, though,
I'm struggling with it. I just came out with I just did an hour special and just came out with a new CD called Colossus of Me. I brought you one.
did you?
Sure.
Thank
you don't have
you.
to steal
Oh
it
my
like I did
God.
from Bill.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, you know, I got to write a whole new thing now. Which is good.
Where does the stuff come from?
My wife writes all my jokes. I just follow her around with a pen and paper, and she comes out of the bathroom. I go, anything funny in there? Anything funny happen?
You'll be all right then.
Yeah.
We can expect loads and loads and loads of albums from you.
So my wife comes out of the bathroom, you know? And,
Secret is out.
Yeah.
the secret is out.
I'm going to say thank you because we've got to go and catch the other
Great,
guys.
wonderful, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Rose.
No,
That was a
thank
joy.
you. It was my pleasure. Thank you so much.